One of the first political lessons I learned from my father when I was a young lad was if someone has political aspirations, they need to be elected to something. For want of a better term, they need to be elected dog catcher so they can prove their bona fides. Marion Barry in DC rose from being head of Pride Incorporated to DC school board member, then councilman, and finally mayor for life. Doug Duncan became a nonpartisan mayor of the city of Rockville before he ran for county executive. And there's other examples all over the place. So it was shocking to me when Adam Pagnucco wrote in his blog, Montgomery Perspective, about the difficulty the school board candidates are having to raise money for their campaigns. Nancy, the school board handles more money and is more responsible for over 50% of the budget than the county council. Why is it so hard for these guys to raise money and have competitive races?
Well, I would say largely members of the school board are not in it for the end game of some and or view this as a stepping stone. They're really in it because they care. Only Nancy Navarro, I think, and Valerie Irvin are members of the Board of Ed that moved on to another job. But, you know, it's hard to raise money. Typically, they've relied on the Apple ballot to get the word out. We used to have press. We used to have the Gazette, we used to have the Journal, something that would tell the average person what was going on in the Board of Education. But we don't have that anymore. So it's up to them to learn how to ask everybody they've ever known for money. And that's not an easy thing to do for most people. So I'm sure that's why, in large case, they're not raising the cash. And so we'll see what effect that has on their the election primary coming up.
Well, but there is some antipathy towards this school board because of what's been going on for the past couple of years. And so maybe we'll see that incumbents don't have the natural advantage that one might have thought.
Right. I mean, it's true. And people don't know much about the incumbents anyway. So we'll see.
Yeah, isn't that, it's just it's mind-boggling to me. Mark, what do you think? I mean, the Apple ballot, as Nancy mentioned, is extremely strong. There's an effort to get, I guess, another ballot out, the blue ballot, I believe is what it's called, to endorse some additional candidates. I think, there was a group that formed 2 years ago or 4 years ago to endorse, these are nonpartisan races, to endorse people who seem to have a reasonable effort. So what's the answer here?
Well, what's interesting, I thought Adam's coverage was really fascinating. I had noticed that in other counties in Maryland, there has been in recent years far more competitive Board of Education races, in which there's a kind of where the frustration that occurred as a result of COVID has manifested itself with candidates coming forward. I confess I was at a fundraiser in Anne Arundel for a Board of Education member that involved Governor Ehrlich, who was one of the guests and what have you, and there were protesters on the outside. It's interesting. In other counties in the state, there has been much more of a flashpoint than apparently is taking place in Montgomery County.
Well, I mean, we have seen parents, be more vocal over the past 2 years. Particularly, the Muslim community has been vocal about some of the gender-specific books that have been read, but it doesn't seem like there's the same level of activity we see in Loudoun County, Virginia, Fairfax County, Virginia, or as you say, in other. Although there is one candidate running who is one of the Moms for Liberty candidates. So, I mean, will we see any changes as we go forward?
Well, of course, it's two-step process. So you have the primary, and then the candidates from that will go into the general election. And so it's always a question as to see who are the pairings that will take place that go forward to November.
But if it can't. If you don't make the primary cut, you're not in the ball game. You're out, right, Nancy? I mean, it's either you make the primary or not.
Yeah, and with the lack of information, I'll be really curious to see what the actual vote numbers are for the Board of Ed candidates. We'll see what turnout is in any event, but particularly for that group, which is a nonpartisan situation, not associated with any particular candidate that people might care about. We'll see how it works.